For some insight, I spoke earlier with Vijay Prashad. He's a historian and director of international studies at Trinity College. I first asked him if he expects to see an escalation in the crisis or if the risks are too high.
Saudi Arabia is playing a game that's very dangerous. In other words, I feel that it is trying to somehow escalate the conflict between Hezbollah and Israel by putting pressure on the Lebanese government to somehow, decide to marginalize Hezbollah's role inside Lebanese politics. This is a sort of fantasy game being played by Riyadh. Lebanon, I think, has seen some stability over the course of the last decade, if not 15 years, because of a very carefully crafted, pact between the various sects inside Lebanon, with Hezbollah playing quite a crucial role, not only politically, but also in terms of the defense of Lebanon. So it's very unlikely that Saudi Arabia's, let's call it what it is, tantrum is going to break the pact inside Lebanon, marginalize Hezbollah, and start some kind of conflict against Israel.
We'll get into Israel in a moment, but staying in the region, this week, Syria is celebrating the liberation of Abu Kamal, marking the end of the Islamic State's hold in the country. How is the situation in Syria related to Saudi's actions?
Well, one has to understand this in terms of the role played by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who not only escalated the conflict in Syria as far as Saudi Arabia was concerned, but also began the very murderous war against Yemen. And in both Syria and Yemen, the Saudi goals have not been met. In other words, Saudi Arabia has not been able to prevail in either theater, and indeed has seen the increase of Iranian power in both Iraq and in Lebanon. So one has to understand this Saudi, attempt to, again, destabilize the region because it is fearful of what it sees as Iranian influence. The precursor of this was the, ratcheted up tension between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, which began late last year, when Saudi Arabia essentially put an ultimatum to Qatar that it has to break ties with Iran. So one has seen that as Saudi goals have not been met, they've attempted to use any method, any means to put more pressure on Iran and perhaps try to break Iran's, newfound power in the region.